Sup, y'all? It's Matt, ESC United, your favorite Eurovision channel. Welcome to yet another episode of Mattitude, your ESC United live stream where we talk about, you guessed it right, Eurovision. I am here not by myself, and I think you've seen this gentleman before. It's Sean, and are you ready to talk Eurovision?
Ready as I'll ever be. Let's go.
I know, and we have a lot to talk about. This may be the next time we are live streaming. We may already be in Rotterdam. So this is the crazy part. Do you feel like this has snuck up on you, Sean, this whole Eurovision, or you feel like it's been dragging?
It does every year, to be fair. It's going to be a little bit different this year, obviously, for obvious reasons. But yeah, you get to the end of the song reveals, and then all of a sudden the contest is here, and it's crazy how quickly May comes around. But it helps the other way, because when it's over, it means it's not long till it gets going again. So not that we want to talk about it being over, of course, but yeah.
I kind of feel the same way. It's a little bit of both. It's kind of like it feels like forever, but also then all of a sudden it happens so fast because I'm usually really good at planning stuff, or at least I'm trying. But every time with Eurovision, I feel like I have time, and now it's like I'm leaving. I'm leaving on Thursday, so that's like what, 5 days, and it's like, oh my god, I even started doing any kind of planning when it comes to packing. I'm like, but that is fine. So yeah, as you know, Eurovision 2021 will be a little different, my friends in the chat. As we're still going through a pandemic that we have to take into consideration. So the EBU has a lot of safety precautions in place. Therefore, as we all know, there is a smaller audience. Only 3,500 people are invited. In addition, the press center has been reduced to a very small number of people. Usually, they have over 1,500 journalists from across the world there. But now, since we cannot have so many people on top of each other, only a third of the people are allowed on site. So about 500, I think, is what the magic number was. And everybody else that wants to be there is going to be in the online press center. So it's a little bit different this year, but the good news is we still have on-site coverage. That means I will be there, and we have my buddies Boris and Melanie will join me on site as well, and then we have a bunch of folks also joining us in the online press center. That means same thing in terms of live stream. They're going to be on there as well, and my buddy Sean will be there the second week as well. No idea how this is going to work, huh? It's going to be a little different.
No, absolutely not. It's going to be interesting. I'll be quite interested to see how they get away with it online, to be fair, because my concern is surely stuff's just going to leak like crazy. Yeah. But we'll see what happens.
That is my consideration as well. So I'm thinking that you have like some kind of watermark. So like if it's Sean's ID, it's going to have like, this is Sean, and I'm like, okay, we know who leaked it. That would be the kind of thing. Yeah. I'm not saying Sean will leak it because we don't, but yeah, you're not allowed to show any clips, screenshots of the performances as it's happening. It's all about, usually it's on the screen and it's obvious when someone takes it. But now, yeah, there is maybe more of a leak issue. I am not sure. But yeah, there are a lot of things that I'm like, we don't even have like the exact details. We know there's going to be an online press center, but we don't even have any login details or anything yet. That's all still to come. I could see also being like a little bit of a lag, just like, when you watch stuff on TV and online, there's usually like a time, it's like a 10 to 20 different second differences. Would be weird if we're on the live stream and I react in the arena and everyone like on the stream is like telling things like, oh, okay, this is what's happening.
That's what I'm worried about, is that like doing it online is like, you guys are going to have a reaction and then I'm like, okay, what happened? And it's, but by the time it gets to the second week, I think I'll be coming into it with different eyes anyway. But
yeah, that's a good part, because we kind of we have a new fresh set of eyes, because Sean will be there again, I think halfway through the rehearsal. So we still have plenty of people, so don't worry about it too much. But yeah, we got plenty of coverage, plenty of people being involved, and we cannot wait. And we'll make the best out of the current situation. And let's talk a little bit about Eurovision, what to expect, our expectations, and yours as well. So we're going to ask you in the chat as well. And starting with Tawali, thank you so much for the super chat. That is very much appreciated. Keeping ESC United going and helping us with all the very, very expenses. He's asking, who do you think will be a shock qualifier and shock non-qualifier? My top 5 are Portugal, Austria, Denmark, Poland, and Georgia. Chances for them. Sean, as you know, Tawali's taste is always very interesting, to say the least. You can fairly say that none of the top 5 are anywhere near the top 5 of a fan poll or betting odds poll. Do you think any of these could squeeze through? We're going to talk about that a little bit.
I think Portugal's a fair shout because we covered it in the expert panel, but I do feel like if Portugal gets the right moment, then they could sneak in, maybe 9th, 10th place. I'm not sure about the others. Maybe Poland at a push because I think Poland has got support, and I think it'll have more of a broad appeal maybe than, say, like a Eurovision fan base, but we'll see.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, and we'll talk in a little bit more detail, who we're looking forward to and all of that stuff. We did we have 2 prediction videos up there where the team predicted who will go through and who doesn't. I'll share my more personal insight there as well. So make sure to check out those videos. So there's a lot going on right now in the Eurovision world. And I just want to let you know that I'll be doing some interviews, some panels, and one second. One panelist where I'm going to be on Destination Eurovision. It's another Eurovision fan page that's going to be out, I think, on Tuesday. So make sure to subscribe to them where I think there's going to be Weeby blogs going to be there. There's going to be some former delegation members. And we're just going to talk about some Eurovision stuff, our thoughts, the current situation, etc. So I'll be in that. So I have the link to Destination Eurovision's Facebook page where it will be broadcast in the description box. So just wanted to make you aware of that. So let's talk about some of the things that before we go into the details and what has happened over the last few days. Of course, it's all about the prep work, and apparently the stage obviously has been completed, and clearly we're going to have the most innovative and technical stage with technical very lighting features and gadgets, the latest and greatest that's on the market. And we have, of course, augmented reality. They're going all out, especially a year where you don't have many spectators in the arena. The person who designed it was Florian Wieder, once again in charge of it. Now, 7 stages he has designed so far, including the last 3 years, 2017, 18, and 19. I think he did most of the ones before as well. I think he didn't do anything when Sweden was hosting, but for the most part, he did all the other ones. The cool part is the big screen that you see in the back is 52 meters wide and 12 meters high. So that's a pretty darn big screen. And the cool thing is it's not just a screen. It's actually, it can open up and close. And inside there are doors that can open. And I'm going to show you in a video in just a moment. And actually, let me show you that one real quick to give you a quick idea. This is a courtesy of V-Done Design. Now, this is just an animated thing, as you can see, but it gives you slightly an idea of how the stage would work. I'm not going to show you the whole video, but this is how it's envisioned, how the doors will open up and close. It's a really cool way to actually do that. Let me actually give you another quick video of like the actual stage, not a whole presentation, but just some clips here and there. So this was provided by the Dutch Telegraph. Some little insight on how the stage will look like. Of course, we haven't seen it full in action except for some of the lighting. A lot going on. Let me show you also just real quick some slides. And Sean, the question to you: what do you think so far, Liz, looking at the stage? So far, so good?
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Dusseldorf in a way. First impressions. Obviously, it looks like it's in a smaller arena. I could be wrong.
No, yeah, much smaller. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I saw that you know Florian who does a lot of the stages, which I don't know if I agree with, but that's another point. I saw that it was about sort of Dutch design, clean lines, and sort of very elegant, and I think it does match up to that. It's like these slides here with all the lights. It just shows it can be quite diverse. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with each song really on there. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I like the stage. I can see where you can see a little bit of like a smaller version of the Düsseldorf Germany stage, because it's all about like a wide screen, right? Like Germany was really wide as well.
Yeah.
So I think that that aspect of it kind of makes it look like a compact version of it. I can totally see that. I'm very interested in the whole how the chandeliers, I almost call them, the lamps, how they're going to come down and how that's going to play. There was another country in my brain escaping me. Do you remember what year it was where they had these lights come down? What year was that? Kiev, that's right. Yes. Yeah. So I'm not sure if it's going to be more like a 2021 version of it, where it's going to be a more modern. How do you feel about augmented reality? Do you like that idea, or you think that can be a little tacky?
I'm leaning more towards tacky at the minute, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we've seen like holograms and that in recent years, and it just doesn't mesh at all. So new technology, I don't know. It might be different. But yeah, I think it's got more capability to be cringy more than anything. But yeah, I'm willing to be proved wrong.
That's how I feel. I put a poll on Twitter a week ago or so, and the majority were definitely in like 2/3 were saying they're excited about it. Then a smaller percentage said they don't care either way. So not that many detractors of the augmented reality, but I do know sometimes less is more, and when you do too much, can get a little like, okay, getting a little much. But Dutch are not known necessarily to go like they are a little bit more subtle with their stuff. So I don't see them going all like blurred. But of course, it's not just up to them. The delegations can kind of see what they want to do. So if they want to have like, rainbows and unicorn farts on there, that's just up to them. But yeah, that is definitely something that I am looking forward to. But overall, I'm quite excited about the stage. And I've been doing that for quite a few years now. It's always a weird moment when you walk into the arena and you just kind of like, wow, this is actually happening. This time we'd be wearing masks walking in there, and you have to stay God knows how many meters away from everyone. So that's going to be a weird thing, but it's still going to be just soaking it in will be kind of fun. Any other thoughts, or did we summarize it well enough?
I think it's always interesting at this time of year, because you see the stage, you see the pictures, and you think, okay, so you try and picture how things are going to look, and it does always look better on screen, I think, and they do a really good job with the camera each year. Tel Aviv was a great example, because that was a tiny little studio, and they made it look like it was a 20,000 seater stadium. So yeah, I think a lot of people judge the stage when it comes out and they see pictures, but then it's just a case of wait and see a lot of the time. So we'll see how it looks on screen.
Yeah, it's going to be really weird for the people in the audience, those 3,500 spectators, because when during the first semifinal, they all perform the act, and then there's Australia, and then they're just going to show it on screen.
Yeah.
That's going to be a weird moment, like, what? It's for the right reasons, but I'm just saying it is going to be like snap you out of it for a moment, I think. But maybe have a little less impact on the actual show on TV. Rabadam, first of all, thank you so much for the super chat. You're asking about what are Norway's chances, how terrible you think Norway is this year. I really like it, so it's not terrible at all. And I don't know how you feel about Norway, Sean.
Well, I was in the expert panel. It's a bit of 90s noughties sort of cheese, isn't it? But it just works. It works really well. So yeah, I wouldn't say a guilty pleasure, because you listen to what you listen to, but yeah, it's really catchy, and it'll stand out, I guess, if not for the for the staging at least.
Yeah. And I see a lot of questions coming in there. We're trying to answer them as much we can. Always at ESC United, and try to at least stay on my topic. At the very end, by the way, we will have an open Q&A. So any questions you have at that point, doesn't have to be related to what we're ever talking about right now. Throw it out there.
There's an interesting one I can see there. If I could just
go right ahead.
Sabrina saying, do you know anything about the situation of Flow Rider? Since Australia couldn't travel, but how about Americans? And obviously you're flying over this week, so I don't know if you can field that.
Yeah. So I mean, technically we're still banned, just like Europeans are banned from the US at this point, to travel overseas. I think they want to open it up for Americans, Europe in July, just for tourist travel even. As of right now, you can only travel if you're going for work. So if it's like that kind of stuff. So for me, for instance, when I show up in Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport, Schiphol, sorry, I always mispronounce that. I will have to present my voucher, like the accreditation voucher that shows them, here, I'm here for work and for pleasure. And that'll be like, okay, you're good to go. And the EBU was very clear about that. So, and anybody that would be on the delegation would get a similar voucher. And especially someone like Florida, yeah, he's not going to have a problem.
He can travel wherever he wants. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Florida, for crying out loud. Yeah. So now America, I mean, same tourists you will not see over there. So, but you will have people like myself, and there are other Americans, I'm sure, that's going to be there during that time. And so yeah, so let me actually see one thing here. So that is what we have with the stage as of right now. We have to wait and see how the rest of that will pan out. But at least, you know, we have something to look forward to. Also, people are asking, are there vaccine requirements for the press at the contest? Matthew Faustini is asking. First of all, thank you, Matthew, for being a new member of ESC United, like membership. You can sign up for the membership if you want to support the channel. You get special features, early access to some of the videos and all of that, and support the channel, of course. But to answer your question, yes. So first of all, for people traveling outside of the EU, we have to present a COVID test that was taken within 24 hours of your departure time, showing that you're negative. And then at Eurovision, you get tested every 48 hours. So they have a special clinic, whatever you want to call it, set up. And you have to show up there every other day and get tested. And then if you, for some reason, end up being positive, yeah, you can't be there. So they're going to kick you out in a nice way, not kick you out, but, you know, you can no longer be around people, of course. So that is definitely, they're being very, very careful. Even though I travel from like the other side of the pond, almost, because I'm at the West Coast, all the way to the Netherlands, I feel fairly safe, not just because I have the vaccine now, I'm fully vaccinated, but even besides that, everyone on the plane is being tested. So if you were have COVID, you can even get on the plane, and then at Eurovision you're being tested the entire time as well. So it feels very, very safe to me. So yeah, that is definitely still all going on. Also, we have some just quick updates on what's going to happen at the show. So the head of the show, his name is Gerben Bakker. He gave us a few details on the grand final show, and apparently the show will open with a film, and the film is all about the positivity of the future. I guess, you know, it's in line and in theme with the world that we're in right now. It's a short film. It's called Transcending Lights, and apparently it has like over 80 shots, and the storyteller is light. I know that sounds kind of vague, but it is inspired by the light ball that you remember from the Netherlands performance in 2019 that came from, you know, the ceiling. And Sean and I, and we're going to talk about it in a moment, we remember vividly how many technical difficulties there were with that darn ball.
Yeah, I can't believe they're trying that again this year.
I know, right?
Didn't they learn?
So I'm sure they learned from their mistakes. We're going into some details about that. And then they're also talking about the interval acts here. They're going to have local talents to represent the Netherlands. So no famous performers. Sietse Bakker was very clear about that. Don't expect to see Madonna. Don't expect to see Justin Timberlake. Or some people were all freaking out, oh, is it going to be Lady Gaga? Because I guess she had some kind of event in Rotterdam around the same time. I'm like, no, not going to happen. But some interval acts that will be included are Dutch talents. Afrojack, Glennis Grace, Wolf. They're all going to be there. This is they were all scheduled to perform last year as well, but they decided we'll be back this year. They were initially supposed to be there with a big orchestra with a beautiful song, but there are like hundreds of people, I think, in there, so they can't do that. Therefore, the performance of the orchestra was pre-recorded already from the Erasmus Bridge in Rotterdam. So that is what we know so far. You excited about that so far? What you're hearing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always one for the host country has their talent as the interval acts. I know there's another interval act where is it called like Rock the Roof or something where it's all the former artists, but it's just like I don't want to see that. I want to see the local talent. I want to see like Kiev did it quite well. I think it was Anuka that performed, and it was like a really cool interval act, but it was all Ukrainian. And I don't get this whole sort of fascination with former artists returning and doing a medley. So I know that's what's going to happen this year, but I'd rather see like Afrojack and people like that perform personally.
I do like
Duncan, it. I understand Duncan Lawrence needs to be there, but other than that, yeah.
See, I like it when you bring back. I actually more on the I like returnees. Now it doesn't have to be all the last 2-3 years. I like it when you bring some of the former like I think they're bringing back Lenny Kaur from 1969, the winner from 1969. She's going to be there. That kind of stuff. It's like, come on, that's so cool. I cannot deny that.
If I see Alexander Rybak at Eurovision again, I'm going to scream. I think
that's a different story. Okay, I hear you. And Dima Bilan, yeah, I get that. Yeah. That is fair. That is fair. I'm more referring to like the Dutch history, so that I think makes perfect sense to me. But yeah, they don't have to have every single former winner or popular act. And as much as I love Verka Serduchka, it's definitely doesn't have to be always. Real quick, a couple of questions from some of the supporters, and you expect me to say that name? VXCBSD BVSDB, catchy. Place predictions for Lithuania, and can it win? Okay, again, quick change our subject here. I think top 5 is possible for Lithuania. Sean,
I'd agree with you. I don't think it's going to be the winner personally. It may well do, but I just don't see it being. It's not like an obvious winner to me. Top 5 is achievable. I think it depends how the people are watching are going to love it, but we'll see what the juries think.
Yeah, that is a fair thing. And watch my prediction video for semifinal 1, and I said something similar. In semi 1, I could see the Lithuania actually winning the televote potentially in that semi, but not overall, because I don't think they're going to flop with the juries. They're not going to be like third. I think it could be like 5th or 6th place with the juries. Is my current hunch right now. So maybe dragging it down a little, kind of thing. But may not be a winner, but I think it could potentially be Lithuania's best result to date. And one more question real quick, since it comes from another supporter, Yovel Zim. If Eden makes the whistle note, will it make her a sure qualifier? Sean, what do you think?
I don't think it doesn't work like that. It's not just, I know it's a song contest, singing contest, however you want to frame it, but one note doesn't make an entry. If she nails it, then it's gonna be impressive. But if the rest of the song is not a train wreck, but if it's not performed well and then she does that, is it enough? The rest of it's got to come into place. It's got to be a whole package. That's how I've always seen it.
Yeah. No, and that is a fair thing to point out, and I kind of agree with you. It's just a little like this, like look what I can do moment isn't always enough. I would say there needs to be a moment that is remembered, like a whoa moment, and it could be a whoa moment. It doesn't always have to be a high note. It can be like a great visual moment. It can be something that really makes the song stand out and be that whoa moment. And could it be for some? Absolutely. So I'm not counting it out, but just that using as the sole deciding factor, I don't think that's going to be enough. Certainly not for the televoters. But I don't think it's going to hurt it. That's for sure. It can only help it. But but it's a good question. But we shall see. And our predictions right now are all very much subject to change because, once you see the actual staging, the vocals, and the entire flow of the show, things change a lot. And so take it all with a grain of
rehearsals
salt.
throw everything out of kilter so quickly. Like every year, every single year, someone will come from nowhere, someone will tank, and it's just wait and see, really.
Exactly. I completely agree. And I know there are a lot of questions in the chat. Forgive me if I can't get to them all right now. Make sure to continue at ESC United. Keep in mind at the very end, we're going to do an open Q&A, and I catch as many as possible. And if you please also do me a favor, if you cannot support the channel financially, monetarily, that's totally fine. I get it. But if you hit that like button on the video, that always helps for the video to be more exposed in the algorithm and all of that stuff. So any kind of support is appreciated. And subscribe, of course, if you haven't done so already. So let's talk a little bit about the current betting odds, because all we know, Sean, I think starting next Saturday, this will probably going to look very different, at least as the day progresses, I would assume. So currently right now in first place in the betting odds with a 19% chance of winning is Malta. And the question to you, Sean, is that a surprise to you, or you can see that being not even based on your personal taste, but just more like what the song is, what it sounds like, just the current times? This sounds like a reasonable place, or no?
I think unless it's like Euphoria or something like that that just feels obvious, I think having that higher percentage chance of winning is always unrealistic anyway. Especially now that it's more competitive and there's more songs in the running. I feel like I mean I touched on it in the expert panel, so I don't want to sort of go over old ground, but I just feel like Malta's going to be one of them songs where they're going to throw everything at the stage, and I'm not sure if everything's going to stick. So that's where I see it potentially falling down. I think it'll be a decent result for them, but I don't buy it being the 20% chance of winning that it is. Especially because unfortunately it's Malta. As much as it's not, as much as it's not like about the country, I feel like it does play a factor. That's why Russia and Sweden, for example, are always up there, and always tend to be higher up in the results. So
yeah. It's hard to say. For the most part, I agree with you. I don't think that Malta is a shoo-in for win. At the same time, if I had to put down money right now, I would probably put on Malta, only because looking at all the songs of competition, I feel as this one has a lot of going for it. Malta, on average, does, at least in the recent years, fairly well with the jury. So I think good jury support will be there. Where they were lacking was often the televote support. This is the first year where I can see Malta actually doing really well with the televoters as well. It's a lot more accessible and catchy than some of the other songs they've put forward. Now, it is true, sometimes they try, sometimes less is more. So if they throw everything but the kitchen sink at the staging, it could be a little distracting. The good thing is, Destiny doesn't need it. Destiny is a superb performer. Her voice alone is already breathtaking. If you watch some of those performances that she has done in the whole Eurovision show circus that has been going on, I mean, she sounds amazing. Her range is ridiculous when she belts those big notes. It's impressive. So, and I think the team knows that. So, but as said, we have to wait for the staging, because that is definitely a big question mark there. Next in line, currently at 13% of winning chance, is France. Winning. That's my German accent coming all of a sudden out of nowhere. France. Sean, what do you think? France currently in second place. Again, just based on odds.
I think, yeah. If I had to pick one entry that I would see without thinking about it, because the thing is, you're trying to predict something you don't know. We don't know what the staging is going to be like. It's going to change. I think based on what we know, France and probably Switzerland, I would say, are the two that are more likely to have the moment live and have the kind of both sides of the support to win. I know you don't have to win, obviously, jury and televote to win, because look at the Netherlands, they didn't. But I think it helps to be high in both, and I feel like they are the two that are likely to have that crossover, really. But there's a lot of songs this year. I mean, I'm not going to go too far down the odds, but I look at a lot of songs, and you could make a case for quite a few.
Yeah, I find it this year in particular very difficult to predict. In previous years, you had at least some like standout songs. So I'm saying that, but that screamed winner, it is a little bit less here. That is true. France could potentially, if they somehow recreate a similar kind of magic that Salvador Sobral put forward, a song that transcends language, that just is a feeling and just feels right. France actually, I do believe, has a shot at it. It is at the same time a very difficult task for them to achieve. So I wouldn't put my money down on them yet. Again, nothing to do with my personal taste because I love that song to bits. But I just, I think it's a tough road for them. But there seems to be. I'm surprised actually that the song is this well received within even the Eurovision bubble, because it doesn't really feel like a song that I think is like that Eurovision friendly for the diehard fans. I think more of like Cyprus music, but I'm glad. I'm glad that this is the case. So there is maybe a good amount of hope for them in that. And we've seen her perform at the national final, and she was amazing. I said keep the staging; it was perfect to me. But they said they're going to make changes, but I don't think they're going to go bad. They're going to only do it better. I'm sure, because they have a bigger stage, they have more augmented reality. I'm sure they're going to take advantage of that. So I see that happening as well.
Yeah, I don't think that song needs it really. My thought process with it is when the majority of Europe sit down to watch it on the night, what's going to be the song that people sort of gravitate towards or is a standout? What's going to impress people? And I just, France and Switzerland, because I just feel like they're going to be the ones that people watch and go, oh, wow, that was pretty, that was impressive.
Yeah.
So that's my thought process at the minute.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. The other two that are standing out in the betting odds in third and fourth place are Switzerland and Italy. And what are your thoughts, Sean? You think the odds are onto something or not?
Yeah, Switzerland, I can kind of see. Italy's an interesting one because who knows where that could finish? That could be anywhere. You know what I mean? They perform it really well and they really believe what they're doing. And I think that's going to help them. But I just don't see it getting the jury support really. The televote might go wild for it. Whether I don't think it'll be enough on its own. But if they can hang around top three of the juries, then who knows?
That is true. Yeah, Switzerland to me is make or break this. I mean, it would probably apply to all songs, but especially Switzerland feels to me a make or break live performance because that song needs a connection. Like he needs to connect with the audience watching, with the people, because it's such that kind of song. If that's not happening, then the song could actually flop, in my view. But if it's done right, it could absolutely win. So Switzerland is a wild card to me. It could go all the way, and it could also be kind of like, oh, we didn't see that happening. I mean, qualification is happening. I'm not even doubting that, but I'm just talking about
John is a very, very, very good singer.
Yeah.
So that's always going to be there. It's just about whether they've managed to capture everything else right.
Yeah, that is true. I'm thinking in terms of Italy. I think you kind of nailed it. I'm thinking, you remember Italy 2014, Emma Maron? It's not the same song. I'm not saying it's exactly a copycat. It's a slightly different vibe. But that kind of music often doesn't work as well at Eurovision because but at the same time, Italy that year had different issues. I think the staging was just atrocious, and I think
train wreck,
yeah, and the whole the stage was too big. The way they shot it and all of that stuff, it's just like she felt lost on the stage. That may not be the thing, and I do know Måneskin. They are what I really like about them is they have a lot of stage presence and charisma, and that is going to definitely work in their favor. So, but I agree. Like, I don't necessarily see them as winners, but we shall see. It's very popular right now, that's for sure. Real quick, just some of the other top 10. Not going to go from all individually. And fifth is Bulgaria, Iceland 6, 7 Sweden, 8 Lithuania, 9 Cyprus, and 10 currently Norway. Out of those songs that I just read to you, Sean, anyone that particularly stands out to you that, watch out for that one?
I'm surprised by Norway being that high, but then it may be because it is Norway and they've just because a lot of you've got to remember the betting odds are just based on these companies are just putting a monetary value on what people are betting on, so it's not necessarily the people at these betting companies aren't sitting down and listening to all the songs and deciding off that. They're just going, oh well, people are putting money on this, so we'll change the odds to this. I think Cyprus with a good performance could be bit of a dark horse to do well, but I don't think it'd win. Was Finland in there? Did you mention Finland?
Now Finland is in 12th place, 11th. Finland is in 11th place.
It depends where you look. I think Finland is above Norway, like across the board, but I guess it depends where you look. But
yeah,
Finland could be an interesting one. Bulgaria, if they get that right, that could be a dark horse as well, I think.
That's another similar
who's
to
who's to say at the moment.
Exactly. There are really good ballots. We have like Switzerland, we talked France, Bulgaria. One of them will come across as the moment where people will gravitate towards. One will be the ballot. The question is, which one is it going to be? And right now, if you believe the hype and the odds, France and Switzerland will battle it out. But I agree with you. I'm not counting out Bulgaria just yet. In terms of, I agree with what you were saying. And what you said also to a certain extent applies to Sweden. Sweden is always high because it's Sweden. And the song is just somewhere in between in most of the fan polls, all that stuff. Fan polls not always the best way to measure success either. But it is certainly lower than usual, I've noticed.
I think Sweden this year is struggling for Sweden. Like, it's lower than I expected it to be, certainly in people's estimations. He could be one that improves, and he may well end up top 5. But yeah, there's not enough there at the minute for me to see it as like a winner contender. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with that one. I don't think they'll change the staging that much either. So I think it's sort of a known quantity in a field of unknowns. So that could be playing into it as well.
Yep, I think that is a very fair assessment there as well. Now let's and then I'm going to ask some questions with regards to your questions as well. But I just want to finish that thought real quick. Now, going back to, I can bring them up, but in 2020, let's compare the 20, because a lot more than half of the acts performing this year are returning from last year. Do you think that some of these are kind of like there is a certain pressure on them because they were expected to do really well, and now they may still do really well, but not quite as high? Bulgaria comes to mind because on the day of the cancellation, Bulgaria was number 1, Lithuania was number 2, and Switzerland was number 3, actually, interestingly enough. Do you think that this kind of is like, like a really odd situation that these acts put themselves in?
Well, if I was going to mention any, it would have been them 3, so I can't really disagree with that. I feel like Lithuania are not just... They've got a lot of pressure on them for the country, because I think the Lithuanians are really like, oh, these guys are going to do well. And I worry for them if they don't. I mean, they're good. I feel like Lithuanians, the public in general, and Lithuania are going to be like, oh, well, we're never going to win.
Yeah.
If they don't do well. So that's my concern. I think Switzerland, he's got double the pressure because he's one of the favourites this year, and he was last year. So I feel like he probably feels he's delivered on the song. So now he's got that extra pressure to make sure he doesn't mess up at the final hurdle. So I don't think he will. I think a lot of the time, these artists, they know their craft. They know what they're doing.
Yes.
So I think that, there's pressure, but if they want to win the competition, there's always going to be pressure. I mean, Duncan had it last year.
True. 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Sorry.
I know.
I tried to forget last year ever happened.
2020 never happened. Now, and when you look at the last year's betting odds, I mean, they're not that far off from this year, interestingly enough. Yes, Bulgaria was number 1 with a 12% chance. So it wasn't also fairly close. So there was like a really close gap. They're still in the top 5, I think, right now. Lithuania was in 2nd. They're still in 6th place. Switzerland was 3rd. They're now 3rd? Still, or 2nd? Iceland was 4th. They were now 6th right now. Russia dropped a little bit. They were 5th, was Uno. But this is a different act as well. Italy, 6th place, and now 3rd. Malta was 8th. They went up significantly, I guess. So
I feel like Iceland, the pressure is almost off. Iceland's an interesting one because I think the pressure's off him now. He's not considered a favourite, and he's kind of already had his success with Think About Things. So he's probably like, well, I'll just do what I need to do and see what happens. So he's probably got more freedom than most.
Yeah, it seems he's fairly just like, let's just do it kind of attitude, which I guess can be very freeing. But also because they scrapped the whole national final. So from an Icelandic perspective, they're like, we want something good. Or maybe they're just more like, we're just excited our superstar is going. So I don't know. Quick questions from Sasha. Thank you so much for the super chat. Good evening, Matt and Sean. I am French. I'm really scared of our staging and final result in the final. I can already feel the flop. Let me answer this one first, Sean, then I want to hear thoughts as well. But I'm going back. Picture it. April 2010. Germany, all of a sudden, betting odds favorite or at the top. And here's me, a German American, thinking they're going to mess it up. They always mess it up. I'm not even like, it's ridiculous they're going to be in first place, that they even have a chance of winning. They haven't won in my lifetime, and they kind of suck. So like, it's not going to happen. And then boom, I watched the results come in, point after point. I'm like, I was on the phone. Is this happening? Is this actually happening? Dude, it's happening. So it's like, you don't believe it until it's happening, because, you know, you are from a country that hasn't won in 44 years. So I feel it. I know how it goes. But if a song comes across well, people will vote for it. There's no reason people wouldn't vote for France. Look at Portugal. Look at Austria over this past decade. They both did what people thought was the impossible. So I understand your feelings, but don't feel them, because I've been there. I'm telling you how to feel or not to feel. That's very helpful and productive. Any other thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, do you know what it is? It's a big four mentality, and it's not big five. I'm not including it because they don't have that pressure. It's a big four mentality. France, Germany, Spain, UK. Every year, we're going to mess up the staging. We're going to mess up the staging. Oh God, we've got a good song. Or Spain and UK's point, oh God, we've got an okay song. Let's see how we can mess it up as bad as possible. And I think that's just the mentality. That's just what we're all like. I know I'm British, you're German. Obviously, comments from a French person. So, you know, that just sums it up perfectly. We're in the final. So we're like, oh, okay, so we best not mess this up. And then we end up doing it anyway. So yeah, that's what it is. That's what it boils down to. But, you know, we've shown to have the moments. As long as she's got the right team behind her, I can't see, you know, where they could go wrong with it. Really, it's a hard song to mess up the staging with, I think, as well. Yeah.
And we know that she is good. Like, it's not like we have to worry about her. You know, she wrote the song, she feels the song, she can sing it, she's into it. So it's all about the rest. Does it come across?
It is so much easier to mess up an up-tempo staging than it is a ballad, I feel.
Yeah, when you have the right singer. Like, you can mess up a ballad if you have like a not so
strong singer,
capable. Yeah, I try to not be too harsh, but that's not the issue with France. And most of the ballads this year, I don't think have bad singers. So I don't think that's an issue. Let's talk a little bit about Sean, the rehearsals that are coming up. As we pointed out in the betting odds, things will change once we do the rehearsals. I know a lot of the people that put money down watch our live stream, so I'm trying to be as reasonable and fair as possible. It's a lot of pressure sometimes. I keep forgetting about it.
I've not helped with that in previous years. I know that.
Well, people always complain when we react something too strongly or not enough. I'm like, this is just honest reaction. You know, it's just what it is. Enjoy it or don't. But the point is, rehearsals, they can make or break a lot of songs. And who do you think, or like, in your opinion, who are you most intrigued or interested in, like, when it comes to the rehearsals? Because it's just a big question mark. Do you have some of them?
Yeah, there's a few. I mean, I went through earlier and I sort of wrote down the ones that I'm really sort of anticipating.
Okay. And one at a time, and we take turns. So what is your first one?
Well, what I was just going to say is it's not necessarily the ones. If it's a song like, say, Lithuania, I kind of feel like I know what they're going to do. So that's not one I'm really anticipating. But like, the first one is Australia, purely because I don't know what their rehearsal time is actually going to be like, if there's going to be anything there. Are they going to show her rehearsing from a few months ago? I don't know, but I feel like that's an intriguing one, just because we don't know what I know the stages have probably got to have a certain, I don't know, set of rules or whatever with them when they do the live on tape performances, but I don't know what to expect from that at all. And I think it's partly down to Montaigne, it's partly down to the entry, the style. So it could be literally anything.
It's because they don't have to worry about anything. They just be like, we're done. You know, you just show it. You know, they don't have like, let's see you for the finals, for the semi show. That's all they have to worry about. That's really weird. On my list, I have Moldova, only because we know it's Moldova and the dream team involved. They go crazy. One of my favorite moments, you may remember it, Sean, was 2018 when we saw my lucky one, my lucky day, right? When they did the whole telenovela, we were all just like, "What? Didn't see that coming."
To this day, that is my favorite, like, first rehearsal watch ever.
I know.
It was just such an amazing thing to watch, like, come out of nowhere. I've got Moldova on my list as well.
Yeah.
Just because it doesn't matter what the song is with Moldova, they're a must watch. They always go big on the staging. So yeah, that's one for me as well.
Yes. Well, who else you got on there?
Next one on my list is Cyprus. Just because it's always, it's like I've just said, it's always difficult to stage an up-tempo song, and this is something that really needs good staging, I think, for the whole package to work. It could be quite similar to the video. I don't know how they'd really do that, but maybe the stage is versatile enough to do it. I don't know. But if they've got a good team working behind them, it could be like something out of an awards show. Who knows? So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that.
Yeah. I personally also have on my list Ireland, only because Ireland, I have a very soft spot for the song this year, but it's in such a tough semi that I'm worried they're not going to qualify just due to the competition, so many pop songs being in there already. So I'm hoping that somehow they can really create something that works and just makes it stand out and actually gives Ireland in my opinion, deserved qualification. So I'm just really Ireland, not necessarily known for be like the greatest when it comes to staging, but it's not for the lack of trying. I said that before, I think, in my review in the panel, that they've tried to do stuff in the past few years. Doesn't always work. So I do think they're going to try something at least. So that's another one I have on my list. Anything else that you have on yours?
Well, I've got to mention San Marino, haven't I? I have to. I can't not mention San Marino. I mean, that could be literally anything. It could be literally any person that shows up. It could be Flow Rider. It could be, I don't know, is it Errol, the San Marinese rapper? He could show up. I don't know if they can't get into Rotterdam. So that'd be interesting. They may have some of the augmented reality as well, I have a feeling. So maybe Flow Rider's going to be maybe Flow Rider's going to be there one way or another. But yeah, San Marino is another one like Moldova. It's always anticipated, no matter how good or how
bad it is.
Song is, so that would be an interesting one.
Is there one, and you can, Greece, obviously, I'm going to mention, because everyone is talking about the crazy staging, and they've done the stand-ins. By the way, the stand-ins happened already these past few days. It's still happening right now. Rehearsals were not the actual actors performing, but, technical. Like they have Dutch singers perform the song, and apparently the Greek rehearsal went really well. They sent the dress, and they're very satisfied. So we know there's something that's going to happen that has never been done before. So I'm super excited about Greece, of course, as well. Is there anyone, Sean, and again, if no is an answer, that's fine, that you're worried about? Like, okay, I'm worried about what they're going to do because
the UK every year, every single year, because I know, again, Big Four mentality, but I know what they're like.
That is true.
If you mean like non-biased, then
I didn't set rules. Anybody?
Malta, but just because of what I've said, I feel like they're gonna throw everything at the stage, and I don't know if it's gonna work. I do hope it works for them. I think people think that I'm bad mouthing the song or whatever. I'm not. I think it's a competent song. She's gonna do well. I hope that they support her with the right staging. So that's one I'm worried about. I don't know if there's anyone else that really sort of stands
That's okay. You don't have to search, because I was and after this we're gonna answer some question in the chat real quick. I was going to say the UK as well for different reasons, because I don't have a personal bias for or against the UK, because I just love the UK like anybody else. But this year I'm a huge fan of the song, and it's really high up in my ranking. So I want the UK to do really well and prove all those people who just kind of like meh about it, like, you're wrong, this is a great song. But I hear what you're saying. The UK in the recent past has not had the best track record when it comes to staging. It's not like they, I mean, you can even say that there was nothing they could have done, but Michael Rice's staging was really boring. John and Jake, what was their name again in 2016? Joe and Jake. They're just like nothing happening. then in 2017 they did something cool and was like excited, and the betting odds went up for the UK all of a sudden out of nowhere because they actually tried something. So that is the my concern here as well. But
yeah, 2017 was the only time we ever absolutely nailed it.
yeah,
but the song wasn't quite strong enough, so it was always sort of doomed to begin with in a way. And then we tried to do it again in 2018, and it just wasn't the same. And it just, we tried to flog the dead horse again, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
I do like I really like our song this year as well. So that is another sort of factor. It's in my top 10 as well if I had to do a ranking.
Really? I didn't expect that, because looking at Sean's taste, it doesn't seem like a Sean kind of song.
Oh, but I like anything as long as it's good. I like a lot of EDM.
Oh, that's true. I keep forgetting about that.
So yeah, and it's a really big sound in the UK. It actually sort of represents what people in the UK listen to. So
yeah, that's the thing.
Go ahead. Sorry, they get the staging right.
Yeah, and people.
I was just gonna say I hope they get the staging right, because if they don't, then it's going to reflect badly in the UK.
Okay. Anyone ask your questions in the chat at ESC United, and we'll try to pick some out. And one thing that bothered me, especially with the Eurovision people, and I love you all, not you in the chat, it's others, but where they're all like, the British song, it's like such a typical British song. So when Greece sends a very Greek song, it's being applauded. Like, oh, that's so authentic, cool Greek sound. But when UK does that, something that could actually work in the British charts, it's like, oh, we've heard that before in the British charts. I feel like that's always used as a negative by a lot of people, and it drives me nuts. I feel like it's very well represented by what the Brits will listen to in the charts. It feels British to me, and it's just so danceable. So I think it's a good thing. So you can never win. Okay, so let's answer some questions. Are you ready, Sean? Stephen Kendall is asking, in the past, bloggers were allowed into the post-rehearsal press conferences scheduled. What will happen this year? Will those be posted online, or will the EBU channel post it themselves? So the rehearsal press conferences are always live on Eurovision.tv, or like on their YouTube channel probably now anyway. So you can watch those rehearsals conferences, like the meet and greet, all the time. So they should be in there. In terms of if the press will be allowed in there, I'm sure, because everything will be reduced. So back then you could have had dozens or hundreds of people in there. Now you have like one person per row, I would, or something like that. I could see something like that happening. But we don't know for sure. So these are questions that we don't have an answer to yet. There's still a lot of last minute changes that even the EBU is doing. So we'll know when we get there. It's like one of those, we'll find out the morning we show up. Okay, so Benny. Yeah.
I mean, it's normally like that every year anyway. So this is no different.
What's that?
We normally find out what's happening on the day when we show up anyway, most years. So
we knew usually how those meet and greets work and all that. They usually have been fairly consistent over the years, but there are other things that there are a lot of stuff that we don't know. That is true, where we just kind of like figure it out. And some press centers did better than others, but we're not here to boo anyone. Which country, Benny AOT is asking, which country do you predict to have the biggest discrepancy between the jury and the televote points? Sean, do you need a second to think this through?
Yeah. Have you got an answer? Because I'm gonna have to think about that one.
I would have to think about it as well, but I'm looking at the list right now. I could potentially see a 2018 repeat for Sweden, going really high with the juries and kind of doing Benjamin and Gross, where it may not do quite as well. Italy is a potential one as well. Italy, although sometimes Italy does better with the juries, but for the most part, frequently they've done better with the televoters. But I think it's going to be as big of a discrepancy here. So Sweden certainly stands out the most to me.
Maybe Ukraine, but I can't work out which way.
No, I can't work out. I
can't work out if it's televote or jury that's gonna. One of them is gonna love it, but I can't quite put my finger on which one.
I have a hard time wrapping my brain around the jury's liking this. It's just anytime they have something, I mean, there's nothing like the song, but any kind of like that, it just never works with the juries. And I do think that it'll flop with them. And that's my biggest concern. That's why I had Ukraine as a borderline qualifier. It's going to probably potentially do top 3 with the televoters, but will be outside the top 10 in the semis with the juries. Again, has nothing to do with what I want. I'm just saying that's what my gut feeling tells me. Can both France and Switzerland get a top 4, or is one or the other? Sean, what do you think?
That's an interesting question. I don't see why they couldn't. I mean, there's no real. You have. You look at like 2018, the top two were both sort of up tempo, really in your face pop songs. So there's no reason why the same genre can't do well at the same time. So that's I don't see any reason why not.
Yeah. Two belts came up on top. Look at 2019. We had Russia and Netherlands in the top 3. In 2018, the top 2 were like upbeat songs. And this rule always often applies to ballads, or like that perception to ballads, but not to upbeat songs. There's always a discrepancy between televoters and juries that can really make a big difference. Look at 2017. The 2 landslide leaders were Portugal and Bulgaria. Like, they were ahead of the pack by like a gazillion points.
Yeah.
So that could easily happen. So don't feel discouraged saying that you're rooting for both, but only one can do well. No, both of them can do well. Maybe one of them will do well. Maybe neither of them will do well. Yeah. But I'm just saying anything's possible. Don't let that be a concern of yours. All right. And Sean, if you pick up a question that seems good to you, feel free to pick it out. I'm just going to keep picking some up. Musical Muffin is saying, do you think that Czech Republic will move up in the betting odds after the first rehearsal?
Well, I mean, where are they at the moment? Are they just sort of in the middle?
I'll tell you in 2 hot seconds. They are in 33rd.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. It's an interesting one because it's not one that I'd see ever winning, but I know that he is a very good live performer because I remember watching when he performed K-Mama in Ukraine last year, and I sort of sat up and was like, oh, wow, he's actually really good at this. So could be the same effect this time. I think people are sort of ruling out him as a performer. If he gets the right moment and he has a good, colourful rehearsal, let's say, then yeah, why not?
Yeah, no, I think I kind of on the same page with that one. I think that as of right now, again, I feel them as they're like a borderline qualifier that could go through, maybe not, but like Benny's not necessarily the best vocalist, but he is a very capable stage performer. Like, he's charismatic, he has energy, he's very likable, and I think that often can go a long way, and I think that'll elevate the song. Okay, ESCX Bilal, any dark horses, Sean? Who is the song that you say, no one's talking about it, keep an eye out?
What, for winning?
Or doing really well. I mean, winning even, top 3. Let's do top 3. Anyone that you think that no one really talks about could actually be like, this will do this.
So, yeah, there's always one, isn't there? That's the thing. It's just trying to work out who it is. I mean, if Finland have a really good live show, Finland could do really well because I feel like it's something that juries could potentially support as well. But I don't know about top 3. That's a strange one.
Yeah. I don't necessarily. I cannot even say it'll be top 3 at this point. So that's maybe also a little of a exception. But I can see
maybe,
Israel. Go ahead.
Maybe Belgium, actually.
Looking
at it, Belgium could just be one of those that's just really sophisticated and simple, and it just is eye catching. And I don't know. Maybe people just get on with it quite well when it's on. Something like that.
I can see that. Yeah. No, I said the same thing in my panel video, a prediction video, excuse me, that Belgium could go really high with the juries. Maybe not, and could do better with the televote than a lot of people anticipate. Not quite as high as the juries, but I can see them doing it. It has a place, and it will certainly, it's niche, and that could certainly help. So I definitely have it on my radar. I think Israel could do a whole lot better than people think it will, because a lot of us are still stuck on the original version, or like La La Love and Ooh La La not winning, and then the original one. But the current version is exactly what a lot of people expect from Israel, vocally, the sound. So I could see this one actually doing a whole lot better than people think. So look out for Israel. I do think it could absolutely happen. Chiara Milanoli is saying, do you think with everything going on, televoters will gravitate towards an upbeat song more than a ballad? I can speak only for myself. I am, and that's I've known that I knew that right away, even before we had songs. I'm like, even at home, and it comes down to your personality. Some people are more somber, and they kind of probably may gravitate towards ballads, but I just like this
Yeah.
for me. I just want to have fun. I want to have energy because I've been missing it for the couple of years. So I am, even though I love Bulgaria and I love France, I love these songs. I just have this big appreciation for like the UK, Lithuania is just absolutely working for me. San Marino, those songs just really are like giving me life. And I think I am gravitating towards it, but I cannot speak for everyone. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on whether people want like a distraction or if they want reflection.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be how it plays out. Are people going to be like, oh, let's have a party and forget about everything? Or are they going to be like, this is the state of the world that we live in, blah, 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 gravitate towards something like that? I don't know. Just trying to predict 200 million people, you know what I mean? It's difficult. You can't work out what the mood's going to be. So yeah,
That's
see.
the beauty of the contest. You just never know.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. MB is asking, can you explain why Ireland is Wee Block's favorite and ESC United has them as a non-qualifier? There's a difference between favorite and prediction. I wanted to be clear about that. I love Ireland very much. I just, looking at the circumstances and the situation that find them in semi one, I'm worried that it'll not qualify. That's why I have them at the non-qualifier, but I'm withholding final judgment for the rehearsals. So that's why I said I'm one of the ones I'm looking forward to the most is Ireland. If it were my personal ranking, it would qualify. No doubt about it. So I think
I mean, Ireland did really well in our expert.
Yeah, it was like
jury anyway,
7th place, I think. Yeah. So you want to look at our ranking. The team overall had Ireland in 7th place out of 39. That's pretty darn high. So that's where I think the discrepancy is. So someone's asking a good question. We'll wrap up here. Will you be able to watch the rehearsals live in the Digital Press Center? So yes. So how it'll work. So 3 of us will be in Rotterdam, and then about a handful of people will be doing online press center. Basically, in a nutshell, we are going to look at the same stuff. So whatever I'm going to look at in the press center, they're going to have a big screen up there. The people in the online press center will look at the exact same thing. So that includes the individual rehearsals as well as dress rehearsals and the meet and greet, from my understanding. And I would assume there will also be like an interview room where you can talk to the artists. But how that's all going to work, we don't know yet. That's, again, surprise. Go in there and figure it out. You let me know, Sean, how it's going to work.
Well, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I think it's probably going to be what you say, or how they're going to make that work. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know yet. But we'll play it by ear, and we'll do our best. And people are saying, yes, there are a lot of questions about it. We are going to be able to see the rehearsals this year. It's basically going to be similar to what it has been in previous years. We have some people be able to watch it. The first round of individual rehearsals, just to give you an idea, they are close to the press. So we cannot be in the arena. We can only watch them on screen. We are not allowed to record the screen or take pictures of it. So we will not be able to show it. We're going to be on live stream and talk about it. You may hate in the background. It's background noise. You can hear it. So if someone butchers it live, you will know. But for the most part, with pre-recorded vocals, I don't anticipate too many vocal disasters. Then the second round of individual rehearsals, the press is allowed into the arena, but we're still not allowed to record the entire performances. It's only just, you can absorb it, take pictures, and whatever you record, you would have to then present at a later point, which then it's pretty outdated. So it's kind of useless. And then we're going to have the dress rehearsal, and this kind of follows the same concept as well.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Who do you think, live with Matt, another Matt, what do you think will be a shock non-qualifier? Okay. Gun to your head, Sean. Who will be the non-qualifier according to your predictions? I'll go first if you need a second. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I always put you on the spot here. I don't know if it's considered a shock non-qualifier, but a lot of people were upset when I put that up there. I said that Croatia will not qualify. I do think in the battle of a lot of upbeat pop songs in semifinal one, this one will lose out for multiple reasons. So that was my pick. But I don't know how controversial that is, but a lot of people were not happy with my prediction. Do you have anyone else, Sean, or are you still thinking?
I was going to say, I'll tone it down a little bit because I was going to say one that's going to get me a lot of hate, but probably Moldova. I just have a feeling it's just going to flop because, the staging's, they'll throw everything at the staging and then it just might not work. You know, it happened to them. I think 2019, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's going to do well, it's going to qualify," and I was like, "This hasn't got a hope in hell," and then it didn't. So,
yeah,
that's just my feeling again. That it's going to be them. The other one I was going to say, I will say it because I'm sure there's pressure in the chat for me to say it. I was going to say Sweden, which I know which is like sacrilege, but I don't know. I don't know. Is it? I don't know. I can't really explain it. I've just got a gut feeling that it could be one that just gets by the wayside. Especially the way Sweden's been going with the televote recently. If the jury support drops as well, who knows?
That is true. And honestly, if it was 100% televote, I would have put it as a shock non-qualifier. At this point, because I can only go based on patterns, is that the performance itself, regardless of the song quality, is slick, is polished, it feels right. And it's just a kind of music that the jury's like, and looking how they have been really pushing Swedish music and at Eurovision, I don't see any evidence to believe that they wouldn't. Otherwise, I would be on the same page with you. Could this be the year where the juries were like, okay, this year we just can't? Maybe. But I'm not there yet to believe that the juries will tank Sweden. Televoters, maybe, but juries, I think, will save it at a bare minimum as a borderline qualifier. That is what I believe. But I hear what you're saying. So if Sweden ends up non-qualifying, probably my jaw would drop, but I would still not be surprised. That doesn't make any sense. I'd be like, wow, it didn't happen, because I don't think it can happen. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
At least it looked like we know what we're talking about, though.
Yeah, we're
our credibility.
We're trying, I know, right?
Yeah.
Vanya is asking, which semi to you, Sean, is more difficult to predict?
The second one. I feel there's a lot more variables with that one. There's a lot more songs that could have some interesting staging as well, and there's not as many sort of standouts is the wrong word, but there's nothing in, there's not as many there that feel like they're definite qualifiers. So
I was going to agree with you, and I was until I did the prediction count up, and I'm like, I disagreed with the team more in semi 1 than in semi 2. So it seems like we've been more aligned. So I feel like maybe semi 1 is the one, just because we assume there are so many big hitters that it is going to be easier to predict because there's so many certain qualifiers. A similar thing happened in 2018. And then we had all these, like, Albania went through, Ireland went through, right? There were a bunch of ones that we just like, and I think it is not as clear and cut as some people think, because I do believe there will be some surprise non-qualifiers. Could it be Russia? Could it be Sweden? Oh, Russia. I could have Russia as a potential non-qualifier as well in semi 1. I forgot about that one.
I could see a world where it doesn't qualify, but I think they'll have enough.
Yeah, I'm not convinced yet. I have them as a non-qualifier as of right now, but again, rehearsals. So we'll see that. We'll see. Matt, when are you flying to Rotterdam? Thursday. Well, my Thursday. I'll get there European Friday morning. So I leave here around 3 o'clock, I want to say. And I'll get there like at 10 or 11 in the morning the next day. And then rehearsal start the next day. So yay. I'm excited. It's kind of weird because, I haven't been on an airplane since this all thing started. So it's going to be really weird going through the airport and dealing with all of that.
At least you'll have had a bit of sleep before, though. Like, I remember Tel Aviv, I literally landed I think it was like 8 o'clock that morning, and then went straight to the press center and straight into rehearsals, and that was a long day. That was a very
I did too. Remember, we both like. I got there like it's 3 a.m, and
you can actually, if you watch the video back, you can tell that we're both absolutely shattered. It's quite funny.
Somebody picked me up. Like one of my followers, they actually came by and were like, I'm going to pick you up because you must be miserable. And it was, so early in the day, and it was still Shabbat, so there was nothing but taxis basically. So, he took me to a place where I could have breakfast, and we chatted, and then I went straight to the press center afterwards. And I was there first, and Sean showed up a couple of hours later, and we were both just exhausted. But we did well. I like to think we really pushed through, but it was quite a day. We didn't go out for dinner or hang out. We just like, see you tomorrow.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
Good times. Do you think, Sean, Estonia has a chance to qualify, or is it a lost cause?
I think it's a lost cause for me.
Yeah.
Well, not lost cause. I think that's a bit harsh, but I don't see it myself. I don't think it's strong enough, or I don't think it stand out to enough people.
I said I could see a surprise televote boost, because it seems like something that televoters would actually really enjoy. But even with that, I just don't think it'll be enough to squeeze into the top 10, because I just don't see jury support being as strong there. Being the second song of the night certainly doesn't help matters either. I know in the semis, all you have to do is finish in the top 10. But I'm also looking at that particular semi, and I think there are other, it's not really like a ballad, but slow songs that I think would stand out a little more for the juries to go crazy over. So I agree with Sean on that one. Lost cause sounds like so horrible, because it's more like lost cause. Forget about it. No, I don't mean like that. He needs to try and prove us wrong. But I agree with the sentiment that I think it'll be a very steep hill to climb. What do you think? And that's a question for you, Sean, because I don't know. What do you think of the BBC's coverage? Is there like any specific coverage going on?
Yeah, I saw that the person posted that quite a lot, so I wanted to get to that one. It's going to be weird for me this year, because it's probably going to be I'll probably watch it on the BBC. So it'll be the first time since 2014. I'll actually be like watching it from home, so that's going to be interesting. I don't really know too much. I know that the commentators are obviously Graham Norton still doing the final. Rylan is doing it with there's a lady, I don't know her name, so don't quote me, but she's on like quite a lot of like youth sort of adolescent type shows, I think, like Match of the Day football shows. And she's like a rising sort of musical talent, and she's doing the commentary, so I'm quite surprised by that. Which might show the way that the BBC have maybe taken their approach. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I've always had an issue in the past with the BBC's coverage, because they talk over a lot, and they don't show the interval acts, and they don't. I feel like, I don't know how it's been the last few years, but I feel like they could show it a little bit more respect than they do. So yeah, I'll see how that goes.
Yeah, to me, a commentator should really be just a guide, if you will, through the show, especially the parts where maybe it requires translation.
Translate more than anything. If it's like,
the introducing the acts, if you want, over the postcards, the basic stuff, that kind of stuff, I totally fine. But yeah, I don't think they should take over the show, and Terry Wogan was notorious for that. I don't watch the BBC coverage, but when I see clips, Graham Norton started out well, but he's getting also a little bit more sultry over the years as well, a little bit. I mean, they're all a little bit jaded after one bad result after another. Okay, we got to move on real quick. Do you have 5 more minutes, Sean? Okay, because there's so many good questions, I don't want to ignore anyone. Alexandria Palma is asking, what about Portugal or Denmark? The odds put them in 11th and 12th. Do you think one of them could qualify?
I could see Portugal doing it. I've said it a couple of times, and I'm gonna nail my colours to the mast and stick with that. I think Portugal could do it. I think they could sneak in. Denmark's an interesting one, because I've seen, so obviously, like, when I'm counting like ranking game votes, deadline soon, by the way, for this week. It's a little plug. When I'm counting the votes, there are a lot of people that love Denmark. Well, not a lot, but like there's a couple of people that love it. And I think it's like we've always said, you can't vote against the song. So if people out there love it and it is a popular sound, maybe, but I just don't think it's strong enough personally to make it through. They've got a good draw. They've got a very good draw, which might help them.
Yeah, going last. That's not certainly.
Yeah.
Can't get any better than that.
Yeah.
I mostly agree with you. But both songs, if they ended up in the top 10 in qualifying, neither of them would be. I mean, I'm probably going to be like, what? But there is still a slight outsider chance for either of them. Portugal, I initially had as my 10th qualifier, and then I flipped Czech Republic and Portugal and put Czech in and Portugal out. But it's not a strong opinion there. And it's just a feeling there. It's just, and I cannot really put it in words why that is. It's just a hunch. In terms of Denmark, I said it again in the prediction video. You never have to watch any videos because I'm telling you everything in the stream. But I am convinced and confident that Denmark will be in the televote's top 10 in that semi. I don't see them not being in the top 10. It's just a running order, and as Sean pointed out, there is a sound that a lot of people like, and it seems as initially when Denmark was released, it was kind of like no one liked it. Like, it was one of the least popular songs, but then slowly more and more support came forward for that song, and there is something there. There is something there. At the same time, I did say that the juries will eat that one alive. So that's why I don't think that this one will qualify. Do you know what I mean? They're just like,
I think you can throw Poland into it as well, because Poland's obviously got a very sort of similar sound. I think are they in the same semi-final as well, actually?
Yes.
So that could be an issue because it could split their vote because they're both going after the same audience. So that could be an interesting one. But yeah, same kind of thing. I think there's an audience for this type of song.
That is true.
Yeah, I mean, you're the audience for this type of song generally.
Yeah. Do you vote
the 80s sound?
Yeah. Do you also vote in the semis or finals? I'm there, so I have an American phone, so I cannot vote unless I get a SIM card. So I cannot vote. Sean, will you vote for the first time?
I can vote this year. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
you and what's we voting in the first or second semi? Do you know, top of your head?
Not off the top of my head. No.
Okay. Well, yeah, you can vote now. Well, don't tell us yet who, because we want to be a little bit more.
I probably won't know till the rehearsals. I probably won't make up my mind. There'll be certain ones.
Yeah, there's certainly front runners. I get it. Yeah.
But we'll see.
Do you think? Again, another question for Sean from Connor Wells. Do you think this will be Graham Norton's last year as the UK's commentator? I think the fact that they have Chelsea. Is that how you spell Chelsea now? Grimes getting involved.
Oh, yeah,
that's telling me that may be the case.
I don't think she's the she's the one that's on a lot of like football shows and music shows, and she's sort of like an up and coming talent from what I hear. I don't know a massive amount about her, to be honest with you. I feel like if Graham's gonna leave it, I don't think it'll be his last year. Because I feel like he'll want to keep going on until he's literally sick of it, a bit like Terry Wogan.
Yeah.
I feel like if he leaves, it'll be Rylan Clark that takes over, because he's to be like the thing.
Really? So, he's so annoying. Not that I watch the BBC anyway, the broadcast, but yeah, he annoys me a lot. So yeah,
you know who he is though, don't you?
Yeah. I think I'm talking about the same one. He was like on the jury panels in like some of the national finals before, right?
Yeah, the really tall guy.
Yes. Yeah,
I've seen him. He was in Tel Aviv, and he was like up here. So.
Okay, is it possible that Tusse does better than expected in the televote because of Melody Festival and he won the televote by a landslide? Well, to be fair, the reason also why he won the televote, I'm not saying that people didn't like the song, but he was pushed hard by the media, by the press, by the producers. There was a lot of hype around it, this and his story and all of that. That will not matter at Eurovision. So the personal story, maybe mentioned maybe in some postcards, but that's about it. You will not have that personal connection with that. So that's at least my opinion. So just because he won by a landslide doesn't mean it's going to happen at Eurovision. I think John Lundvik won by a landslide as well. by a certain healthy margin. And yeah, he did okay in the televote, but he didn't do like massively well. I mean, that reaction at the very end kind of, in his video kind of told the whole story.
I think I can't really speak for Sweden exactly, but I think in the UK definitely, and I know you've mentioned it about Germany, there are certain countries where on a national level there's an underdog complex. So people will love to vote for the underdog, but that's only going to work in your country, I think. When it gets to Eurovision, there's too many stories, and frankly, the commentators don't share the story as much for that to have an effect. So I think that's going to play a lot into it.
Yep. I personally also don't care about, and that's probably why I end up in America. We have all like juries, like for criminal trials and civil trials. I end up on juries because I'm very factual and matter of fact. That's why I hate these talent shows like American Idol, where they're all like, oh, I had to sleep in my car for a year and now I want to be a star. Or I had to miss the birth of my child to audition. I'm like, you're just a shitty father. Like go back and go be with your family. So that does not affect me at all. Well, can you sing or not? So I'm not like I have any sympathy for these people. I do have empathy. But when it comes to that portion, I'm like, that will not affect me.
That's not what you're meant to be judging these people on, I think is the point you're making. So yeah, and too right, it shouldn't be.
Yeah. That doesn't mean I don't want to root for them. Like, oh, I feel bad for them. But when it comes to judging them, it'll have zero, nada, null impact on me. It doesn't mean I don't feel bad for them. I don't want to come across as a mean person. What is your opinion about the green screen room postcard concept? I think it's actually very cute from behind the scenes material we've seen so far. I haven't seen much of it. Have you seen?
Oh, so these are like the houses they're setting up in various parts of the Netherlands. I don't know too much about it, but I like the houses look cool. So I'm hoping that the concept is good. But I'll be honest, I generally don't pay a massive amount of attention to the postcards anyway. In fairness,
no, me neither. I watch them when they come on. Yeah, we see them when they're on actually, and then we comment on them. So during the live stream, we will talk about them, and that's where you get some ideas. Anyway, so as a reminder, this will be probably the last live stream before I actually arrive in Rotterdam and something crazy goes on and 15 countries will be eliminated because there was some corruption. Then I may talk about it before. But other than that, I'll try to have one on Friday evening before the rehearsals from my hotel, just to kind of give a little status update, have another MATTITUDE episode. But I will already be basically in most people's time zone, at least Central European time. Isn't that weird? Yeah. Crazy. It's going to be really weird for me because it's been 2 years. I've been doing it for many years now, but there has been a break, and now it's, especially with everything that's been going on, it's just hitting me really hard. It's like, dang.
It's going to be weird not being there. Like not for when the rehearsals start, that's going to be strange because I do remember what it was like before I went.
Yeah.
But it was however many years ago, that's going to be interesting. It's like I'm almost on the other side of the coin again, so that'll be a novelty for a year.
And you will be back next year anyway, so right? I have you on record, right?
Yeah. and I'm kind of there. So yeah, it's not quite the same, but yeah, we're looking forward to it.
He'll be there a lot on the live stream, so don't think you're not going to see Sean. You're going to see plenty of him. Oh, that sounds good. You know what I mean? You're going to see, and he's going to be on camera a lot. So
I'm going to see that much of
no worries about that. So we'll have our next show on Friday, and then starting Saturday, we'll have our first live streams from the press center. And as a matter of fact, the links I already put up last night, my last night, which is technically this morning. It was kind of weird even putting that in, like, wow, what's happening? So I want people to be aware of it early, that we will be live streaming. We are, of course, going to do plenty of other things in Rotterdam. It's going to be hopefully fun. It's going to be different, but I hope you stick around with us. So once again, thanks again, first of all, Sean, for joining me. I hope you didn't hate it too much today.
No, pleasure as always.
Good.
Let's be here.
Good. And I love it. Sean will enjoy Valletta 2022. There's the confidence I'm looking for, Stephen. There you go.
Oh, if it's Valletta, I'll be very happy. I'll be very happy with 2 weeks there. Don't worry about me.
That's why I'm the worst Eurovision fan. I keep saying that because I don't want the best song to win. I want countries to win I haven't seen yet. I want to visit. So that's why I'm like, go Iceland, go Malta, go Croatia, whatever it may be. I haven't been to and I want to go to. So like, screw France. I go there all the time, even though I love the song. I'm kidding, of course. The best song needs to win, but secretly, no. Anyway,
but you wouldn't say no to Italy, would you?
Never, ever, never, ever. Ever, never.
No.
Not a thing. Yeah, that's where we're at. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back soon in Rotterdam. What? But there'll be more videos before that, so don't worry about that. So anyway, have a good day, everyone. I don't know where the off button is on the screen. Oh, I'm using the wrong mouse. Let's do that again. Okay, that's it. Bye. Take 2.
Bye.